Across the country, from Kellogg's cereal plants in Michigan to coal mines in Alabama, union workers are on strike.
We have to do what we have to do. This is our lives. This is our livelihood.
They're demanding higher wages, better benefits, and improved working conditions.
Speaking to workers and labor leaders in different sectors of the economy, what I really heard was that there's a lot of frustration among workers and even distrust of their employers. And so, these folks feel as though it was revealed to them during the pandemic that their employers aren't necessarily looking out for their best interests and that they need to advocate for themselves. And this is what unions are really hoping to capitalize on.
Meanwhile, many non-union workers are looking to collective action to improve their conditions. Since the COVID-19 pandemic began, workers from across a wide range of industries, from trucking to media to museums to higher ed to bookstores, are working to or have successfully unionized their workplaces.
We're on strike today, say we're on strike today.
So what's behind this new worker unrest? Is it just a passing moment, or is this shift likely to last? Before the pandemic, labor unrest was on the rise. In 2018 and 2019, work stoppages ticked upwards, with 20 and 25 respectively. But pre-pandemic, American labor was not in a position of strength. For decades now, private sector union membership numbers have been in decline.
Private sector workers were really beaten down before the pandemic. The unionization numbers were low, and they weren't really striking in great numbers, and they weren't really winning particularly strong contracts.
The economic disruption brought on by the coronavirus gave workers new leverage. Data compiled by Cornell University found that the number of workers on strike in 2021 increased steadily from the beginning of the year. So far, these actions have produced mixed results.
Workers at Deere just this week ratified a new 6-year contract, and this brings to an end a strike that had been ongoing for over a month. It involved more than 10,000 workers at Deere. It was taking place at Deere where there hadn't been such labor activity in 35 years. And so this just really speaks to the groundswell of frustration that we're seeing among American workers, and also the power that unions feel that they have at this point in time.
In a statement, the UAW wrote, "Our members' willingness to strike in order to attain a better standard of living and a more secure retirement resulted in a groundbreaking contract and sets a new standard for workers." In a statement to the Wall Street Journal, Deere Chief Executive John May said, "We're giving employees the opportunity to earn wages and benefits that are the best in our industries. We have faith that, in return, our employees will find new and better ways to improve our competitiveness."
Unions built the middle class. Unions put power in the hands of workers.
Despite an endorsement from the president, earlier this year, a drive to unionize an Amazon warehouse in Alabama failed when workers overwhelmingly voted against collective action. Two closely watched upcoming unionization drives include one at an Amazon warehouse in Staten Island and another at some Starbucks stores in Buffalo, New York.
When employers are fighting unions, they will bombard workers with text messages or in-app messages. They'll also, during working hours, require the employees to listen to anti-union messages about why they shouldn't unionize, where there's no law requiring equal time.
Workers interested in creating a union form committees dedicated to advancing unionization. Oftentimes, these committees lobby their colleagues through personal advocacy, but committees also get their message out with pro-union literature, text messages, events, and today, social media campaigns. In November, the company's CEO, Howard Schultz, traveled to Buffalo to make a personal appeal to Starbucks employees.
We're not a perfect company. We're not perfect people. I'm not a perfect person. Mistakes are made, we learn from them, and we try and fix them.
I think if the Starbucks workers in Buffalo are able to win their union in spite of the massive anti-union onslaught that they've received, that will be a promising sign.
In an open letter to employees on its website, a Starbucks executive wrote, "Our actions in Buffalo are not about whether we are pro-union or anti-union. It's quite simply that we are pro-Starbucks partners. As you know, our heritage and culture are built on the belief that by working directly together as partners, we can build a different kind of company." On November 18th, Starbucks employees in Mesa, Arizona said they would like to join a union. So, is this wave of strikes a tipping point for American labor? And will we see this unrest continue to pick up momentum?
It's too early to tell. I think there are promising signs. Right now, employers have the ability to fight off unions, whether organizing drives or strikes, with greater resources and more legal support. So it's very, very difficult to organize or to win a strike.
The current strike wave is not large by historical standards, especially when compared with the hundreds that occurred annually in the 1960s and 70s. Critics of unions warn that work stoppages and efforts to influence labor policy could push up prices for consumers and slow production.
We live in a different world than we did in 1950. There are dozens and dozens of laws on the books that protect employees. There are safety and health rules. Back in the day, when the only place a person had to go for protection was a union contract or a union grievance procedure, today an employee can pick up the phone and call the EEOC or OSHA or the NLRB.
But those in favor of expanded unionization would dispute that characterization.
It's a typical anti-union talking point to say that unions were good for a while, but we don't need them anymore. But what we see across the country is that workers that don't have the protection of a union contract can be fired at any time for almost any reason.
This is true of employment at will. Often, contracts state that workers can be fired for good cause, bad cause, or no cause at all. In recent years, some states like Michigan, Wisconsin, West Virginia, and Kentucky have passed right-to-work laws. A right-to-work law gives workers the freedom to choose whether or not to join a labor union in the workplace. These laws also make it optional for employees in unionized workplaces to pay for union dues required for union representation, whether they are in the union or not. Opponents of right-to-work laws say they allow non-union members to benefit from union representation and union-secured benefits, without sharing in the cost of negotiating those benefits. They argue these non-due-paying workers ultimately lead to union membership decline. Looking ahead, both Given and De Bruges said they would be paying close attention to what happens with the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, or PRO Act. Earlier this year, the House passed the legislation, which supporters say would make it easier for workers to unionize. Opponents of the law argue that it would undermine workers' rights and stifle business. After the PRO Act was blocked in the Senate, Democrats added some of its elements to the Build Back Better Act, or the Budget Reconciliation Bill, which they are currently trying to get through Congress.